Make some noise for...
I told him when I come back, we're going swimming. So, tell everybody thank you, Kirill. Скажи, дякую.
Дякую.
Не, английский.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, что? Very much. Еще раз.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Future president of Ukraine right here. All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome. We're on a breaking live news update, March the 11th. It is 2:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and wherever you're at in the world, you know what the time is there. You look on your phone or your watch. But, guys, I need to update you on everything that is unfolding. I know when you woke up this morning, and I'm thinking about American time zone, or you were in Europe. Last night I was watching the massive drone swarm attack on Moscow, and it was interesting to me as I was watching it, and I've already put a video out on that today. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check that out after the live here. But the purpose of this live is breaking news. I have every statement that has been made. The reason I started late, and I apologize for that, is I have Vladimir Zelensky's statement. He made it just minutes ago. I took a couple of minutes, have it translated, and I'm going to get it to you. So thank you for being here on this breaking news. It's unbelievable. I've tried to get everything in the place, and I was telling Blonde Bombshell and have the mods ready, have the team ready, because we're going to go live only if we get the facts, because earlier today, people were trying to get ahead of the news, and different media outlets were reporting, oh, well, this is going to happen. This is not going to happen. This is going to happen. This is not going to happen. And I said, we're not going to do that. We're going to wait for the facts to come out. And I've been watching Ukrainian media nonstop all day. And when I saw the message come out that expect a joint statement from Ukraine and the United States delegation, and at that point, you're going to hear some good news. So guys, we've got some good news tonight. Lindsay Rogers, good evening. I hope we have some good news. I happen to see that one pop up right there. Yes, we have good news. F. Oink, my Hungarian friend. Hope I didn't butcher the Hungarian name there earlier. Thank you for gifting those 50 memberships. Dunk on you 23 with the $20 super chat and gifting the 10 memberships. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you everything. No reason to hang on any longer. Let's get to it right now. And I've got it in order. This is the delegation. This is the meeting that happened. This is the picture after the meeting there in Saudi Arabia. This lets you know how big those Ukrainian dudes are. On the right, you have Defense Minister Umarov. To his left, you have Foreign Minister Subiga. In the middle, you have the guy that has been there, the head of the office of president with Zelensky since day one. That is Andriy Yermak. To his left, you have Secretary of State Rubio, and to his left, you have Waltz. That is the team. Those are the guys that were talking. And yes, those Ukrainian dudes are big, and that's why I hang with the Ukrainians, because they're big heroes. And today, this is brilliantly played, ladies and gentlemen, by President Vladimir Zelenskyy. Vladimir Zelenskyy, for the last couple of weeks, has played this perfectly. And if you saw my video earlier or watch it after the live, do not think that this massive attack on Moscow itself just happened. They just slung all these drones out there because they knew that the meeting was coming and all of this. Maybe they planned it, but if they did, they planned it days ago. You do not launch massive attacks and have successful attacks on infrastructure and on military targets. You do not plan that in 1 hour. There's a massive cooperation, and those plannings take days. So big congratulations to President Zelenskyy for playing it proper. Now, I want to be fair. We have some good news coming out from the United States, and we have good news coming out from Ukraine, and now it's all on Russia. It's all on Russia. That is why I'm saying that Zelenskyy played this perfectly. Because remember, it was Trump that said Putin has all the cards. It was Trump that said Putin is my friend, and Zelenskyy stood patient. He stood patient. He took a lot of heat in that Oval Office, but he led properly, because what he ultimately wanted to do as the real chess player here is to get the ball into Russia's court. And above anything else you'll see, today the ball went into Russia's court 100%, not 90%, not 50%, 100%. The ball is now in Russia's court, and that is what Zelenskyy and the Ukrainians wanted. They wanted the onus off of them, and they wanted everything now to be put into Putin's court to have to make a decision. That's the great news. So here we go. Here we go. I want to start by playing a video I played earlier. I want to do that. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me give you Sergei Lavrov hours ago. Everybody, we're going to start the whole picture here. Now put this in your mind. Sergei Lavrov hours ago.
Settlement process hasn't even started yet. Zelenskyy publicly states he won't agree to a truce unless the U.S. guarantees they'd nuke Russia if needed. That's basically how he's framing the issue.
All right, so you see that, and I'm going to play it one more time for you because I want you to see the upper right-hand corner of that video, 11/3/14. It's March the 11th. It's today, just hours. This was happening while the Saudi meeting was happening. Listen again to Lavrov. This is where we start.
Settlement process hasn't even started yet. Zelenskyy publicly states he won't agree to a truce unless the U.S. guarantees they'd nuke Russia if needed. That's basically how he's framing the issue.
So let's put it this way, guys, that we can agree on. Of course, Ukraine has never asked, Zelenskyy has never asked America to nuke Russia, of course. But what you need to understand here is it's Lavrov saying, listen, it's Zelenskyy that doesn't want to deal. It's Zelenskyy that has all of these constraints that are holding him back from dealing with us. Sorry, let's get into it right now. Saudi Arabia meeting results are in. These are the official ones right here. Number one, Ukraine shares Trump's vision for peace. Direct quote from Waltz. We'll start there. Ukraine shares Trump's vision for peace. Let's take all of our personal opinions off the table right now, because I know where a majority, if not all, stand with how Donald Trump is handling Ukraine and the rest of the world. But right now, we're looking at the news for Ukraine, and you're going to hear Zelensky's response coming up quickly. But these are facts. Ukraine shares Trump's vision for peace, says Waltz. Now, Rubio says the ball is now in Russia's court. We hope they will agree, said Secretary of State Rubio. So let's start right here. There is no peace agreement in the war in Ukraine. They're fighting right this second. But we have the potential and possibility that now Russia would have to agree to these terms for a 30-day peace period or silent period. That's where we're at. So the breaking news is the United States and Ukraine have come to a crazy strong agreement. Crazy strong. And I'm going to tell you why it's crazy strong in just a minute. It's why the onus is going to be put onto Russia. There's one reason that the onus is going to be put onto Russia. The responsibility is going to be put onto Putin to respond. Going to be so interesting. We'll get to it. Confirmed. 100% confirmed by the United States State Department 30 minutes ago. U.S. State Department confirms resumption of intelligence sharing and military assistance to Ukraine. Okay. Think about this for a second. Ukraine shares Trump's vision for peace. Waltz, great. The ball is now in Russia's court. We hope they will agree. Playing this so good, the pressure is now placed onto Russia. Oh, and by the way, we're now going to resume intelligence sharing and military assistance to Ukraine. Now, I will go ahead and I try not to prophesy, okay? But here's the deal. Russia's going to flip their lid when they hear that the United States is supplying weapons and intelligence, and Russia will say, well, we're supposed to have a quiet period and a peace period, and you are arming the Nazi regime. That's what they're going to say most likely. But we have to wait and see if that's what they say. But these are facts. This is what we have. Additionally, Saudi Arabia meeting results. The U.S. will immediately lift the pause in intelligence sharing and resume security assistance to Ukraine, a joint statement said following the meeting in Saudi Arabia. I can confirm 100% that is already done. The United States State Department has confirmed it, and the Ukrainian military has confirmed it. Secondly, Ukraine has agreed to an immediate interim 30-day ceasefire, but Russia must agree first. This is what I'm telling you. They are fighting right now. There is no ceasefire right now. They are battling like crazy in Kursk and everywhere else along the front lines. But Ukraine has in principle agreed to a 30-day ceasefire, but Russia must agree first. They're the invading nation. Both delegations agreed to determine the composition of the negotiating teams and immediately start negotiations to achieve a sustainable peace with the mandatory participation of European partners. Okay? Very important here because this is what Ukraine was not going to surrender. This is what European partners were not going to surrender. It's not going to be just an American negotiating team. As Trump says, we're on the other side of a big ocean. Europe's problem. Both delegations agreed to determine the composition of the negotiating team and immediately start negotiations to achieve a sustainable peace. I want that to be a just peace with the mandatory participation of European partners. This is where we're at. Continuing, the importance of humanitarian efforts, including the exchange of prisoners of war, the release of detained civilians, and return of forcibly displaced Ukrainian children was also discussed. Now, there is no agreements made on humanitarian efforts. There's no agreements made on prisoners of war. There's no agreements on releasing civilians, stolen children, etc. There's not even a peace agreement. There's not even a ceasefire. Please understand, Ukraine has agreed to a 30-day ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to continue working on humanitarian efforts, exchange of prisoners, detained civilians, forcibly taken children. But there's no agreement there, but it's in the discussions. Additionally, the United States has resumed intelligence and supply immediately, and there is an agreement to now build the negotiating teams. This was just a preliminary meeting, but it's good news to build the negotiating teams and to include European partners. That's where we're at. And I know if you're here, you want to know, what about the mineral agreement? So far, no deal on the mineral agreement. Great job, Zelenskyy.
Слава Україні!
Great job, Zelenskyy. Is there a military aid package announced being delivered? No, Adrian, there's not a military aid package announced delivered, or it's words right now, but Ukraine has confirmed that there is an agreement to the resumption of military supply. No news on a new package. Now, I know everybody's saying, I'll believe it when I'll see it. Stormbringer, Putin will not accept it. Oh, I don't think he will either. I don't think he will either. But listen, my dear friends, so many of you guys in here right now wanting to get the breaking news. I'm giving it to you. Plus, I've got Zelensky's statement. So we can only go step by step by step by step. We can't predict tomorrow. Can we predict Putin's response? Of course not. Can we have conjecture? Sure. But can we predict it? No. So right now we have to work with the cards we have. It looks like, when Trump said, Zelenskyy, you have no cards, and Putin has all the cards, it looks like to me Zelenskyy had an ace up the sleeve. And the ace was how he played the negotiating game. And when he was blasted by Trump and others, he's not a negotiator. Oh, remember? He's a dictator. Remember? This guy can't lead this country in war. And now look what is happening. Boom. No, he stood his ground, ace up the sleeve, and there's not even a mineral deal signed. Come on, everybody. There's not even a mineral agreement assigned. Ultimately, the presidents of both countries, Trump, Zelenskyy, agreed to conclude a comprehensive agreement on the development of Ukraine's critical mineral resources as soon as possible. Zelenskyy didn't have to sign the mineral agreements to get this movement from the United States on Ukraine's behalf. It is golden. Matt Leach Music, thank you for that $10 super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, it is golden. Everybody said, Zelenskyy, he's going to sign away the mineral agreement and it's going to force, and U.S. is going to force Ukraine to capitulate. Zelenskyy knew what he was doing the entire time. He understands the battle and the war against that Kremlin evil. He knows how to play against Vladimir Putin. He knows how to play this strategy for the long term. And fortunately, maybe not even fortunately, boldly, the man stood his ground. Kudos to you, Vladimir Zelenskyy, because all of this is happening and there's not even a mineral agreement deal signed. When Ukraine, boom. It's like the old game NBA Jam. Boom, shakalaka. That's what I feel right there. Okay. I see that Marcus Kirk. Yes, it's an economic agreement, but it was being used as a ploy for Ukrainian capitulation. That's the bottom line. That's what Trump wanted to use the mineral agreement for, was economic agreement for military capitulation. It didn't happen. It's good. It's a good thing. Now, let's continue because I know you want to know what Zelenskyy said. Saudi Arabia meeting results continue. Jay Adams, Swedish Kroners 200. Thank you for that super chat. The U.S. now. So you may have the question. Okay, Greg, thank you for that information. Now, who speaks to Putin? Who speaks to Russia? The United States will transmit a ceasefire proposal to the Russian Federation through several channels. We hope for a positive response, Marco Rubio. Okay. The U.S. will transmit a ceasefire proposal to the Russian Federation through several channels. We hope for a positive response, Marco Rubio. That is what happens next. Ricardo with a good question here. For Greg or Zhenya, what do you believe Russia's reaction to ceasefire proposal will be? And do you genuinely believe the war will end soon, like this year or next year? I don't know what Russia will do. I know one thing right now. Will the war end this year or next year? I hope so. But I'm telling you, today is a good day because for once, there's now some pressure on Putin. And when I say pressure, it is the pressure that the Ukrainians have been looking to display for the world to see. And that is, it will eliminate the propaganda. It will eliminate the poison. It will eliminate the disastrous mess that Putin puts out, and that up to now, Trump and his team were under that spell. We shall see what happens going forward. We have to be honest. We have to be honest. We shall see what goes forward. Nobody can predict. But what Zelenskyy and what Ukraine wanted was that the world would have to see a Kremlin, Vladimir Putin response to some cards that are laid on the table. We now have official cards laid on the table, and I'm going to play you Zelensky's words point blank in just one moment. They're laid on the table. It is now not for Ukraine to make a decision. It's not for the Americans to make a decision. It's not for the Europeans to make a decision. We have to see the response from Russia. The U.S. will transmit. It's U.S.'s responsibility to get the proposal there. Now, Zelenskyy has responded, and I'll play it now. And if we keep going, I may play it back again for you in a minute. Here is, let me give you the timing of this. The meeting lasted all day. There was 2 sessions, and there was media people trying to get the information out about what they were talking about in the first section and the second section, and all of those ended up being completely wrong, and they had to retract all those stories. It was a closed-door, tight-lipped meeting, and we started to receive the news about 45 minutes ago about what actually happened. Within that 45 minutes, it was about half hour ago, President Zelenskyy released his evening statement. I delayed the start of the stream so I could translate it for you, and it is done. So everything we've talked about to this point, now it's time to listen to President Vladimir Zelenskyy. Here he is.
I wish you good health, dear Ukrainians. Our delegation just reported on a meeting with the American team in Saudi Arabia. The conversation lasted most of the day and was good and constructive. Our teams managed to discuss many details. Our position is absolutely clear. Ukraine has sought peace from the very start of the war. We want to do everything to ensure peace is achieved quickly and reliably so there is no more war. Our Ukrainian proposal for this meeting with the Americans focused on 3 things: silence in the sky, no missiles, bombs, drones, silence at sea, and real measures to build trust in this situation. Diplomacy continues, with the key priorities being the release of our military and civilian prisoners and the return of Ukrainian children taken to Russia. The American side understands our arguments, accepts our proposals, and I want to thank President Trump for the constructive conversation. Our teams discussed a proposal from the U.S. to immediately try a 30-day full ceasefire, covering all weapons and the entire front line. Ukraine views this positively and is ready. The U.S. needs to convince Russia, and if they agree, it'll start right away. A key point today was America's willingness to resume defense and intelligence aid to Ukraine. During the 30-day quiet period, we can prepare all aspects for lasting peace and security guarantees with our partners. Ukraine is ready for peace. Russia must show if they want to end or continue the war. It's time for full truth, thanks to our diplomats and team in Saudi Arabia today. Thanks to all helping Ukraine and to everyone fighting and working for our country and people. We'll preserve our independence and protect our people's lives no matter what. We're grateful to all supporting Ukraine. Despite everything, we must achieve a just peace. Glory to Ukraine.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I got it to you as fast as I possibly could. Rick Netherlands, 249 euro. What if Russia agrees and uses time to rearm front? It's a great question. It's the same. It's the same argument that Russia will use against Ukraine. Johnny Nedregard, Norwegian Kroners, Hello Hope Train, Slava Ukraini. Okay, guys, now listen. You just heard Vladimir Zelenskyy, and this is the point you need to pay attention to, and I have some breaking news coming in. I'll just stay live because it's breaking like crazy on my monitor over here to my right, okay? And that's all Ukrainian news coming in Ukrainian, and I'm giving it to you up to the minute. All right, now, early on in the last couple of days, this is beautiful chess game. Beautiful, because it was... We want a 30-day, Zelenskyy speaking with the last couple of days, we want a 30-day ceasefire on the Black Sea and long-range air and drone strikes, but there was no mention of the front line. And we're talking about basically from Kursk in the Sumy region all the way down through Kharkiv, wrapping around to Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson, that entire front line. There was no mention of the zero-line ceasefire. Brilliant play, Vladimir Zelenskyy. Brilliant play. Now, if you are wondering what is Russia's initial thoughts on this, I can show you this right now. Half of Ukraine is under air alarm. Shaheeds are in the air, and additionally, there is a Tupolev in the air, and a ballistic missile is already in the air coming. Now, that may not be what we're going to be looking at tomorrow, but I'm telling you that is what's happening right now at 3:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After all of this news is unfolding, Ukraine is under air alarm. Tommy Bergstrom, no way Putin takes this. I agree with you. Randy Adams, $10 super chat. Gospel. Yes, sir. Gospel. Good news. Let's go. Now, let's go back here to Zelensky's statement because I've got other breaking news coming in. But I want to finish with this. Zelenskyy response. Our Ukrainian proposal for this meeting with the Americans was three things: silence in the sky, missiles, bombs, long-range drones, and silence at sea. He said the American side understands our arguments, accepts our proposals, and I want to thank President Trump for the constructive nature of our team's conversation. The first step is to immediately go ahead and try to establish a complete ceasefire for 30 days. And this is where the brilliant move is. Not only regarding missiles, drones, and bombs, and not only in the Black Sea, but also along the entire front line. Ukraine accepts this proposal. We consider it positive, and we are ready to take such a step. Richard Bennett, thank you for gifting those 5 memberships. This is so good. Okay. If you're just joining, because a lot more people are in here right now, and thank you for 1.8K in here. Make sure you hit the like button and share. This is the truth we're trying to get out. Earlier today, in fact, let's do this again, everybody. Let's do this again. And while I'm playing these 2 videos, I'm going to gather the breaking news that's happening right now. So I want to go back just a few hours ago. This was Lavrov.
Settlement process hasn't even started yet. Zelenskyy publicly states he won't agree to a truce unless the U.S. guarantees they'd nuke Russia if needed. That's basically how he's framing the issue.
So for that, we would say, what a lying donkey. He looks like Lurch off of the Addams Family. So Lurch making his statement, and if you're from a foreign and you're not an American, I know we have so many international viewers. Just go to Google later and look up Lurch, Lurch, from the Addams Family. That's Lavrov. So that was just hours ago, and Zelensky smashed him right here. Listen to this again, and then we'll continue.
I wish you good health, dear Ukrainians. Our delegation just reported on a meeting with the American team in Saudi Arabia. The conversation lasted most of the day and was good and constructive. Our teams managed to discuss many details. Our position is absolutely clear. Ukraine has sought peace from the very start of the war. We want to do everything to ensure peace is achieved quickly and reliably so there is no more war. Our Ukrainian proposal for this meeting with the Americans focused on three things: silence in the sky, no missiles, bombs, drones, silence at sea, and real measures to build trust in this situation. Diplomacy continues, with the key priorities being the release of our military and civilian prisoners and the return of Ukrainian children taken to Russia. The American side understands our arguments, accepts our proposals, and I want to thank President Trump for the constructive conversation. Our teams discussed a proposal from the U.S. to immediately try a 30-day full ceasefire, covering all weapons and the entire front line. Ukraine views this positively and is ready. The U.S. needs to convince Russia, and if they agree, it'll start right away. A key point today was America's willingness to resume defense and intelligence aid to Ukraine. During the 30-day quiet period, we can prepare all aspects for lasting peace and security guarantees with our partners. Ukraine is ready for peace. Russia must show if they want to end or continue the war. It's time for full truth, thanks to our diplomats and team in Saudi Arabia today. Thanks to all helping Ukraine and to everyone fighting and working for our country and people. We'll preserve our independence and protect our people's lives no matter what. We're grateful to all supporting Ukraine. Despite everything, we must achieve a just peace. Glory to Ukraine.
Once again, he comes back and says a just peace. Now, while I was playing those videos, and yeah, I saw the chat, BB, thank you for gifting those 10 memberships. I guess I was being a little derogatory to Lurch from the Addams Family, letting you know that he looks like Lavrov. So sorry to Lurch. Now, what news is coming in? And this is so funny. This is so funny. But we've got them. We've got them, guys, because Russia has just put out Putin's response. But if you do this every day like we do, there will be others that fall for this, but we're not going to fall for it. They just pushed a video of Putin's response, and I'll play that for you in a second. I will not translate it. Jim Roberts, welcome to you, my friend. Nice to see you in here. Russia just pushed this response, but Trump has, within the last 30 minutes, once again said he would invite Zelenskyy to the White House. So we have that. And Trump has stated that American representatives will meet with Russia tomorrow, the 12th. So you have the 11th with all of this happening. And for all of you just joining right now, I will bring you up to speed quickly because others are hanging out in here. What we're getting out of Russia so far is their deputies and their multiple state deputies, multiple propagandists, of course, nothing from the Putin level. The U.S. will rearm Ukraine during these 30 days, and Ukraine will start the conflict again. Russia will not go for this. This is State Duma Deputy Viktor Sobolev. He says, I think that what we have heard today is completely unacceptable. Some kind of a temporary ceasefire, a temporary truce. The president also spoke about this. This is important to hear. The president also spoke about this, and it's unacceptable. It only plays into the hands of the Ukrainian fascists who will regroup in these 30 days, replenish their ranks, and be replenished with drones. Look how many attacked us and attacked Moscow last night. We absolutely do not need this. I'm reading this right now straight from the Russian media to you. I'm reading it straight from the Russian media. The U.S., and I want to repeat it because there's something in there you need to hear, because we've got them. And you need to share this because we've got them. I mean, I don't know what we can do with what we have, and we've got them, but I can prove something to you, and I'm going to. So once again, Russian deputies saying the U.S. will rearm Ukraine within 30 days during this ceasefire and start the conflict again. Once again, saying Ukraine starts the conflict. And this is State Duma Deputy Sobolev, Viktor Sobolev. And here's the quote. I think that this is completely unacceptable. Some kind of temporary ceasefire, a temporary truce. The president, pay attention, the president also spoke about this. It's unacceptable. It only plays into the hands of the Ukrainian fascists. Now, did Vladimir Putin speak about this? He's referring, and they're sharing this video. Right now, Russian media is sharing this video right here.
Также открыты для диалога с новой администрацией США по украинскому конфликту. Самое важное здесь устранить первопричины кризиса,
dialogue with the Trump administration in regard to the conflict in Ukraine, and it's very important that we deal with this right now.
Самого урегулирования ситуации, то
and we'll regularly talk about this situation. And for sure, we need to come toward a settlement of the situation. But this cannot be a short truce, because they will regroup their forces and they will rearm. Because all they want to do is just continue the conflict. So we have to take care of all of our people that are living in those regions. That's what's so important. We have to take care of the interests of our people that are in those regions. So we will fight for this. Now, that's what is going through the Russian media right now. I translated it for you. Okay. That, my friends, is a lie. 100% propaganda. That is the same video from 40 days ago. Everybody listen to me, please. That is 40-day-old video. Russia is now pushing that as Putin's initial statement. We won't accept a short type of truce because they will regroup forces and they will continue this conflict. We want a long-term peace, and we have to take care of our people that are living in that region. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, data relay, rinse and repeat. That is what we're seeing. So if you're wondering what Russia's response is, right now they literally are pushing that video in their media. Now, if you are just joining us, and thank you for being here, the breaking news right now is, please hear me, I'll repeat it. Daniela Murphy, thank you for gifting those 5 memberships. Adam Rounds, thank you for gifting those 5 memberships. Let me go back here. Dmitry Peskov is the only person that has made a statement today other than Lavrov's madness that Zelenskyy doesn't want peace. And it's Zelensky's fault. He doesn't want a truce. He wants to continue the war. And we heard Zelensky state the very opposite. I translated it for you. But Dmitry Peskov has stated we are in no hurry. He said there's no need to rush to put on rose-colored glasses now. We must always be ready to defend our interest. Many are rushing to put on rose-colored glasses now, saying that the Americans will stop supplying the weapons, or have already stopped, or Musk will turn off his communications in the future again, and everything will just work out for us. This is Putin's spokesperson, Peskov, making that statement, saying that the United States is just playing a game right now with us, with Ukraine, and we can't put on rose-colored glasses. That is the only statement we have coming out of Russia, and that is Dmitry Peskov. And of course, you can't trust that as far as you can throw it. Now, 2.3K in here right now. Thank you. If you're here and you're joining, I want to confirm this again. This is not a peace deal. This is not a truce yet. We have a good result of the meeting between these five people. In the middle is Andriy Yermak. To the right is Prime Minister Subiga, and to the Foreign Minister Subiga, and to the right of that is Defense Minister Umarov. To the left, the little guys are the Americans, Marco Rubio and Waltz. This team meeting had a good meeting. Ukraine shares Trump's vision for peace, according to Waltz. The ball is now in Russia's court. We hope they will agree, Secretary of State Rubio. And we now have heard from Trump that Americans or some type of meeting will happen with Russia on the 12th. And of course, that is tomorrow. Zelenskyy has played this wonderfully. Confirmed already by the United States State Department, resumption of intelligence sharing and military assistance to Ukraine. So meaning what was ever in the pipeline, military assistance-wise, whatever is sitting there in Poland, the planes that turned around, I hope they're now turning back around and coming to Poland to bring these supplies that are in the pipeline to get to Ukraine. Ukraine does have supply. They're okay. They're not the best right now because of the pause, but they're okay. But this will be very important. And most important is this is like a jab into Putin. It's a jab into that regime where, okay, you're talking about truce and peace, but you're going to supply them and you're going to give them intelligence? Yes, we are. Beautifully, beautifully played. And it was, I know it's the Americans that are doing this, okay? And I'm an American, but it was Zelensky's patience. When the pressure came against Vladimir Zelenskyy in such an evil way, in that Oval Office meeting with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and then the nonstop assaults of his character, of his leadership abilities from people like Elon Musk and others, he stood like a bulldog. And because of his ability to stand and to stand strong and to have a thick shell and be thick-skinned and not fall for all of those traps, that is the reason we're seeing these potentially good results today. So if you're here, Ukraine sharing the vision, the ball's in Russia's court, U.S. State Department confirms resumption of intelligence, U.S. immediately lifting pause in intelligence and resuming security assistance. Ukraine has agreed to an immediate 30-day ceasefire, and that is including the front lines. That's the ace up the sleeve. But Russia must agree first. Both delegations agreed to determine the composition of the negotiating teams and immediately start negotiations to achieve a sustainable peace with the mandatory participation of European partners. Exactly what Ukraine wanted, exactly what Europe wants. The importance of humanitarian efforts, although not agreed on, were discussed, including exchange of prisoner of wars, releasing of detained civilians, and the return of forcibly displaced Ukrainian children, also discussed. Ultimately, the president of both countries agreed to conclude a comprehensive agreement on the development of Ukraine's critical mineral resources as soon as possible. All of this potentially positive movement has happened, and Ukraine has not even signed a mineral deal.
Slava Ukraini!
I mean, it's phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. It's good play on Ukraine. The U.S. now responsible to transmit the ceasefire proposal to the Russian Federation through several channels. Once again, if you're wondering Russia's response, you can now see that the air alarm has increased. When I showed this to you first, it was here. We've now come into this Odessa region, which means that Shaheeds are in the air coming this way, and Odessa can be struck with ballistics, and there's not even time for an air alarm. But you're not seeing this map black. Okay. For example, I know right now there is a Tupolev Tupolev, was it 95? Yeah, Tu-95 in the air over here. And that's why the air alarm. But if you really wanted to start working toward positivity, you could simply turn the Tupolev around and go backwards. The issue is the timing of the drone strike. If you saw my earlier video today, if not, you can check it out at the conclusion of this live or later. It was perfect timing for that massive drone strike on Moscow that critically hit the Druzhba pipeline gas infrastructure. It critically hit other military targets in the Moscow city region. Additionally, Russian air defense failed, and a lot of the damage that was done to apartment buildings there in Moscow was air defense deflections. Ukraine was not striking civilian targets, and they made it very, very clear. But deflections happen, air defense happens, and that is what was going on. But this is the real-time air alarm map right now. The U.S. will transmit the ceasefire proposal to Russia. So now it is the responsibility of the United States to do that. This is good. And I'm appreciating you guys in the chat talking. I want to once again check the breaking news. And I know we've got a lot of new people that have joined the stream, and I know you guys like hearing it. So I'm going to play the Zelenskyy response one last time, and I'll check for the latest breaking out of Ukraine and Russia. Let's do it that way. Here we go.
I wish you good health, dear Ukrainians. Our delegation just reported on a meeting with the American team in Saudi Arabia. The conversation lasted most of the day and was good and constructive. Our teams managed to discuss many details. Our position is absolutely clear. Ukraine has sought peace from the very start of the war. We want to do everything to ensure peace is achieved quickly and reliably so there is no more war. Our Ukrainian proposal for this meeting with the Americans focused on three things: silence in the sky, no missiles, bombs, drones, silence at sea, and real measures to build trust in this situation. Diplomacy continues, with the key priorities being the release of our military and civilian prisoners and the return of Ukrainian children taken to Russia. The American side understands our arguments, accepts our proposals, and I want to thank President Trump for the constructive conversation. Our teams discussed a proposal from the U.S. to immediately try a 30-day full ceasefire, covering all weapons and the entire front line. Ukraine views this positively and is ready. The U.S. needs to convince Russia, and if they agree, it'll start right away. A key point today was America's willingness to resume defense and intelligence aid to Ukraine. During the 30-day quiet period, we can prepare all aspects for lasting peace and security guarantees with our partners. Ukraine is ready for peace. Russia must show if they want to end or continue the war. It's time for full truth, thanks to our diplomats and team in Saudi Arabia today. Thanks to all helping Ukraine and to everyone fighting and working for our country and people. We'll preserve our independence and protect our people's lives no matter what. We're grateful to all supporting Ukraine. Despite everything, we must achieve a just peace. Glory to Ukraine.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's, again, Zelensky's statement about an hour ago. I just got in some video additionally from, I don't even know if they overlap each other, but let's do this one first.
Today we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. I want to personally we both want to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Majesty, for hosting us, for making this possible. They've been instrumental in this process, and we're very grateful to them for hosting us here today. And hopefully we'll take this offer now to the Russians. And we hope that they'll say yes, to peace. The ball is now in their court. And but again, the President's objective here is, number one, above everything else, he wants the war to end. And I think today Ukraine has taken a concrete step in that regard. We hope the Russians will reciprocate.
All right, that is Rubio speaking, and I think I have Waltz here as well, or this may be the same clip. I don't know. Let's check.
Think about it. We've gone from if the war is going to end to now how the war is going to end, and this was an important first step, and that was under President Trump's leadership. He has literally moved the entire global conversation to where we had a very senior Ukrainian delegation with us today. We've had engagements with our Russian counterparts, and now it's how the war is going to end, and that's under President Trump's leadership.
Okay, now I do have I've got two pieces of news now I'm going to share with you. Trump just stating not only that he would invite Zelenskyy to the White House, but Trump now saying if we do not get Russia to ceasefire, then we'll just keep fighting and supplying Ukraine, Donald Trump. And I plan to call or have a conversation with Putin this week. So that is coming in just now from Donald Trump. If we don't get Russia to cease fire, we'll just keep fighting and supplying Ukraine. So that's where we're at on that. Additionally, I got the information in right now from, let me get it here. I have stuff everywhere. In regard to a Russian response, here it is. I'll read it to you. I don't have time to make it into a slide for you, but they're already saying this is what we've experienced in the past with Chechnya or different events that happened in Minsk and others. The steps will be like this. We conclude a 30-day ceasefire. We simulate a negotiation process. We allow a month to restore the Ukrainian armed forces and new deliveries of weapons and ammunition. We replenish the personnel of the battered Ukrainian armed forces. Then there will be the inability to reach an agreement at that point, and the war continues. That is what is coming out right now from different Russian media sources. And yeah, I think the quote is, I think I'll talk to Putin this week. I hope for a complete ceasefire in the coming days. If we don't force Russia to ceasefire, we will simply continue to fight. So that's where we're at. Now, I can also tell you, make sure I haven't missed anything here. Supplies of ammunition and weapons have already resumed. That's Waltz just a couple of minutes ago, already resumed. And I think we're there. Now, there was some other things going on here today that play an important role. And I want to thank right now the mod team for jumping on here so quickly and helping me with this. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. You guys are doing such a good job. Thank you. No. Okay. Additionally, guys, you need to be aware. So it wasn't just Zelensky's response to Peskov's response, but remember that today Macron hosted a coalition of the willing. So not only did you have the talks in Saudi Arabia, the place that we're at right now, to see what happens with the Russian response, and I'll go to the next big question for you guys in just a minute, because I know it's the big question. It's like the big elephant in the room. We'll get to it. But at the same time all this is happening, Macron hosted Negotiations on peacekeeping contingent for Ukraine started in Paris. You can see Macron there shaking hands with Ukrainian representative. French President Emmanuel Macron welcomed the chiefs of general staff of more than 30 EU and NATO countries. No, the United States was not there, who gathered to discuss the creation of an international security force for Ukraine. He was calling it, they're calling it the Coalition of the Willing, which should deter Russia from a new attack after the conclusion of a ceasefire. Interesting timing, all of this happening together simultaneously. Among the participants are also military leaders from countries in Asia and Oceania who joined the meeting remotely. So that right there, additionally, is very good news. This is where we get started. Good comment right here from Tony. Let's not get carried away, chicken and eggs. We can hope we still need the U.S. to tighten the lead. A.F. Kaplan. Très bien, President Macron. Merci. Yes. Of the willing, Trump should not be invited. Charlie, actually, the United States was not invited. It's really, really good. Now, yeah, I know you guys are talking about eggs because the White House tweeted that one of the greatest accomplishments of the Trump administration so far is the reduction of eggs in America by $2 per dozen. So I got you on that one. It's really good. I'm going to go out and get some eggs too. Now, here's the big question in the room, and we'll close out the stream because I think we've got it all covered here. And that is, okay, Greg, you're talking about, in fact, let me pull a map up for you guys. Let's do this. I know the big question everybody has, and I agree with you completely. Because you know what we haven't mentioned at all, this. And I know it's a big question for you, but I'll make it big. You're going, okay, then what happens to all of this? Does Ukraine just give it away? I know that's the big question. This is why negotiation teams are being formed. Okay? What we have, please don't misunderstand me today. I've worked in Ukraine for 27 years, and my brothers are there, my sisters are there. We help the military on the front lines, and out of any day of this war, and it's not just 3 years, guys, it's actually 10 years, pushing into 11, back to 2014, to be real. They're war-torn, but they do not give up. They do not quit. They fight for their fallen brothers and sisters, of which there are many. They fight for their sovereign territory, 1991 borders. They fight for freedom and truth and justice. They fight against the propaganda and the evil words that have been spoken about their nation. They do fight corruption. They do fight misunderstanding, but they fight nonstop for what is right. There are ups and there are downs. There are good days and there are bad days. There are sunny days and there are rainy days. This is a sunny day for Ukraine. Why? Because they've received some international true support today from the United States. They have resumed intelligence. They have resumed supply. We have an agreement that we can offer, we go here, offer a 30-day truce period to Russia that would literally include, ladies and gentlemen, a full truce. That means lay your weapons down. Zelenskyy said the zero line, the long-range strikes, drones, and the sea. We're talking about an absolute 30-day ceasefire. During that ceasefire, the soon-to-be agreed-upon negotiating teams come together to negotiate. At that point, this is when you start talking about territory. This is when you start And we will then, you know it as well as I know it, we will hear the argument from Russia, and they'll say, nope, Lugansk is ours, Donetsk is ours, Zaporizhia is ours, Kherson is ours, Crimea is ours, and this is where the negotiations will be. We're not at that point right now. We're trying to get to that point. But this is good, because in negotiations, anything can happen. And do we expect Russia to abide by the ceasefire if they agree to it, the truce? Absolutely not. It's not. They've never done that. They've broken over 25 ceasefires. What about, I saw it in the chat there, what about the North Korean troops that are there? Good question. What about the supply from Iran? What about the supply from North Korea? What about the partnerships that are developing between China and Russia at an accelerated rate? Thank you, Linda H., for the Sugar Cube Fund, for that super chat. Thank you so much. Eagle Mob, I think you stated best there. I'll put it back up. 30 days. I don't trust Russia. No. Nobody trusts Russia. But that is the beauty of what we're experiencing right now. Because literally, President Zelenskyy played it perfectly. And when he was told that he had no cards, and he actually told Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, I'm not here playing cards. He had one card. I remind you that we now have applied pressure against Russia. We have a resumption of intelligence from the United States. We have a resumption of military supply from the United States. We had a meeting with Macron with a coalition of the willing, over 30 nations, talking about security for Ukraine. We have an agreement that negotiation teams will be built with Ukrainians, Americans, Europeans, and the Russians. Everything that Zelenskyy and the Ukraine wanted to pursue a just peace, today we received. Now, what does that mean tomorrow? I don't know. What does that mean about the borders? Nobody knows. What does that mean? How will Russia respond? We can all guess, but we do not know. So now we are patient. I would rather be 30 minutes late and get it right than be early and get it wrong. And today, when I went breaking news on you guys, I was confident and everything that I'm sharing with you is 100% accurate. Petra Olsen, thank you for the Swedish kroners there, with love to Ukraine, our non-smoking initiative. Haji, $5, free all Ukrainian defenders, return all Ukrainian children. Crimea is Ukraine. Yes. So think about it. Think about it, guys. And I'll go back to the air raid alert. You can see. Look for yourself. Right there. Of course, there's no agreed upon truce, so don't misunderstand. Right now, the zero line, they're fighting. Right now, drones are flying. Right now, airplanes are flying. Right now, MLRS systems are firing. Glide bombs will be gliding. But we have a path forward to begin a negotiation process. And in that path, Ukraine has once again received American satellite intelligence, military intelligence. They've resumed the supply to Ukraine. The United States is now responsible to carry the potential truce ceasefire agreement to Russia. Trump has reinvited Zelenskyy to the White House. Trump has stated that if Russia doesn't sign the peace agreement, then we'll just supply Ukraine and just let them fight. This is where we're at today. Marco Rubio did say this one perfectly. The ball is now in Russia's court, and I'm believing it will be hand-delivered. I really somehow believe it's going to be hand-delivered. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are at up to the minute. I'll check one last time. We have an official statement from the Russian Foreign Ministry. This is how they do it. The Russian Foreign Ministry officially reports that they do not rule out possible communication with the United States in the coming days. That's the statement from the Russian Foreign Ministry. Ursula von der Leyen, right here. We welcome today's news from Jeddah on the U.S.-Ukraine talks, including the proposal for a ceasefire agreement and the resumption of U.S. intelligence sharing and security assistance. Positive development that can be a step towards a comprehensive, just, and lasting peace for Ukraine. Once again, the ball is now in Russia's court. The EU is ready to play its full part together with its partners in the upcoming negotiations, peace negotiations. So everybody's getting it, guys. There's not peace in Ukraine right now. There's not peace in Russia. There's never peace in Russia. But we have the steps. The Tupolev 95 that was in the air has now landed. That's good. And I think we're up to date. I'm just checking the last things here. Yeah, we're up to date. I want to thank you for being here. I won't just keep on here and ramble and talk. Let me check my Discord here. Everything is good there. If you guys have not joined our Discord, please consider doing so. I want to thank all of you that have been here for this breaking news live update as well. It's the first time my live stream went over 2,000 simuls. I want to say thank you. Please leave a comment, help us grow, help the algorithm grow. This is what we do. And if you're new here, we so deeply appreciate it. We have the greatest chat in the world. We have a great Discord. The link is in the description. Additionally, what was I going to say? Yeah, daggone it. I just try to be accurate, guys. I try to be accurate. If you're here and you're new to the thing, to us, and you just were looking for some news and you stumbled across us, I've worked in Russia for 30 years, 31 actually, Ukraine for now 27, 28. I speak Russian. I'm learning Ukrainian. We work in Ukraine like crazy to help Ukraine to stand for what is right. Translating military aid, helping civilians, rescuing people, you name it, we do it. And we can only do it because of you. BC Spikeman, thank you for that super sticker there. You're amazing. And we just say thank you. So thank you. And how you can help. Join the Discord. We have the greatest moderators on the planet. Great team. And I just want to personally say thank you for everybody. Christina at, let me get over here and get this and say thank you guys so much. Christina at Green Meadow, Sweden. Swedish Kroners 300. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Jose Cervantes, $1.99. You are a good man, Greg. Thank you for being in truth. You're welcome, Jose. Tito Valenzuela, the Honduras connection. Slava Ukraina, Geroim Slava do Paramoga. May God protect you, Greg Zhenya, the heroes, and President Zelenskyy. Christina at Green Meadow, Sweden. Thank you for becoming a new crew member, because our channel, we call it the Hope Train. Get on the Hope Train because we try to keep hope alive. No matter what separates us, we can disagree philosophically, we can disagree religiously, we can disagree politically, but there are things that bind us together as humans, and that is what we fight for and we stand for and we will stand with. Thank you for being here and being part of the Hope Train. Johnny Christensen, my Norwegian island dweller there, thank you for the kroners there. F-Oink, better accurate, great comment to close it. Hungarian Frank, thank you for that, F-Oink. Better accurate than Elon. Appreciate all of you. And I'll put this chat up last. Thanks, Greg. You're a good bloke. Have a great day from Australia. Kind Karma, thank you. And thank you to everybody. You guys be blessed. And hey, pay attention. We can go live at any time. Make sure if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification button so you get it. Because if things change, I'm watching this 24/7. This is what I do. If things change, I'll get it translated, get it out to you, and we'll watch. But as of right now, consider yourself completely updated to the minute. You guys be blessed, and we'll see you soon.
Слава Україні!